Hi, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are and when you are watching this. Before we have a conversation, before anything else, I want to ask you just to take a minute and take a breath here with me for a second. Just take a nice, deep breath in and a slow exhale out. Because I don't want this to feel like another video that you consume. I want this to feel like you've landed somewhere for a second, somewhere that you don't have to perform, somewhere that you don't have to have it all figured out, somewhere you can just be right here, right now, for a minute with me. Because if you're here, I already trust something about you. I trust that you're not casually scrolling, that there's something in you that's been thinking, feeling, asking, knowing. And that feeling is that your life is meant to feel different than it does right now. Not in a dramatic, blow everything up kind of way. I have been a member of that club. It's a harder way to do things. But in that quiet, persistent something inside of me keeps telling me, keeps returning, there's more. The voice sounds like, I know I'm meant for more. I know I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over. Keep living like this, thinking a little more time, a little more time. You're starting to become cognizant of time in that you want to use it wisely. I like to think of it this way, that we have an entrance point, right, when we were born, and we have an exit point, and we don't know when that is, but our consciousness does, our soul does. There's a plan for us. So as we get older, where I am now, I call it the second chapter of my life. That's what I call it with my clients. And the time between now and that exit point is incredibly important. And I have no interest in wasting it. So when that inner voice that is telling you, there's this dream, there's more that I want. I know I don't want to keep living the same way. I know how I want to feel, but I don't know how to get there. I'm not fully there. What I'm trying isn't working, or I'm getting frustrated in it. And what's interesting is this. Most women who feel this, they're not at all lost. They're not at all unclear. You're actually incredibly aware. You can see the life. You can feel her, the version of you who's grounded, who's expressed, who's powerful, who's clear. And yet, you're not fully living as her yet. And this is where I want to shift something for you, because you've probably been told, just like I was, you need more discipline. You need to just go for it. You need to think differently. You need to do one more worksheet, spreadsheet to figure it out. I don't know about you, but I got tired of that in mentoring. I got tired of that in classes and in learning. So I went a different route, because that's not actually what's happening. There truly are two forces inside of you when we learn about the subconscious mind. One part of you is really ready. That's the part that's connected to the plan, the soul path, that says, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. That's why it feels like such a pull forward for you, like I'm meant for this. This is meant for me. I know it. And then there's another part of you that's trying to protect you. And that protective part, it's not quiet. It's loud. It sounds like logic. It sounds like responsibility. It sounds like wait a little longer. It's not the right time. It sounds like, what if you lose everything? What if you screw it all up? What if you blow it all up and cost everything in your life? It's not quiet. It's not subtle. And I want you to understand that here's what's actually happening in your brain. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for safety or threat every moment. It's its job. And when something feels uncertain, like being more visible, being more powerful, being more successful, more fully yourself, your system is still interpreting that as risk. So your brain will immediately activate protective pathways. It prioritizes familiarity over expression and expansion because familiar feels safe, even if it's frustrating, even if it's misaligned with your dream. So I want to take you into something real from my own life. There was a moment years ago where I knew I couldn't keep living the way that I was living. Not because everything looked broken on the outside, but because internally I just started to feel more and more disconnected to myself from my reason for being here, from the direction I wanted to go in, from what I wanted to experience. And I remember sitting one night feeling this deep, clear inner knowing. That's the only way I could describe it. I live backing into the woods, and so I can sit in nature in my backyard and just think. And I just had this clarity, this moment of this path isn't yours anymore. You're not in the right place anymore. And almost instantly that voice of fear got loud. It wasn't gentle. It was like a flood. What if you're wrong? What if you lose everything? What if you can't rebuild? What if people don't understand the moves you're making? What if you mess it all up? And what I now understand with absolute certainty is that my nervous system was responding to perceived threat, not physical danger, but identity level change. And your brain, especially the part that's designed to keep you safe, it doesn't distinguish very well between emotional risk and real danger. It doesn't have that mechanism. It doesn't utilize logic like that. It doesn't analyze. It doesn't differentiate. It just knows this is unfamiliar, and unfamiliar might not be safe. So it tries to keep you where you are. And I sat in that for a while, going back and forth too long. When I look back now, too long. Almost moving, then stopping. Almost choosing, then retreating. Until there was a moment where something deeper in me said, if I stay here, I might feel safe, but I will no longer feel alive. And I knew I had already stayed too long at that point. And I think you know the feeling that I'm talking about. So when I chose to move, it wasn't calm. My body was activated. My thoughts were loud. Everything in me was uncertain. That was a pattern I had to really understand and heal, that for me to move forward, things had to blow up in my life first. And I've done it more than one time. So I finally, this last time, recognized the pattern and moved anyway. And this is where something really powerful happened. And I want you to really hear this, because this is what's right in front of you. My nervous system began to update. This is what neuroplasticity is. Your brain and your body learning through experience. Oh, we did that and we're okay. We showed up and we're still safe. We went after what we wanted and more things dropped in. Guidance, resources. We moved forward and nothing collapsed. And slowly, what once felt scary and terrifying started to feel neutral and possible, then natural. That's the progression. And this is the part that most people don't understand. When your nervous system shifts into safety, your perception of reality changes, like dramatically changes. And I'm not joking. This is from personal experience, because your brain filters what you notice. So when you're in fear, you see more risk, more problems, and more reasons to hold back. But when you're in safety, you begin to see opportunities. You begin to see and experience connections, possibilities, support. It's not that life suddenly becomes different overnight. That was not my experience. It's that you become available for a different version of life. And from there, your decisions change. Your energy changes. Your identity stabilizes. And your reality begins to shift within you. And there's something else I want to say here, because this is where so many women quietly get stuck. They go into freeze, where you might be thinking, but, Meg, I've already done so much of this work. I've already looked at my fears. I've gone back into my past. And I really want you to hear me clearly on this. You're not wrong. And you're not done. And don't judge that. Because identity doesn't shift all at once. We don't just wake up in the morning as a completely different person. We would feel insane if that happened. We wouldn't be able to recognize real from unreal. So it doesn't work like that. For your own safety, it shifts in layers. Women don't carry one fear. We carry layers of fear, layered through experiences, through relationships, through moments when we learned. It's safer to stay small. It's safer to stay quiet. It's safer not to be fully seen. What if people don't like me? What if I can't handle the level of criticism that comes at me? And your subconscious mind is not working against you ever. It is protecting you. It doesn't show you everything at once. It reveals things to you in layers. Only when it believes that you have the capacity to meet them. And this, from a neuroscience perspective, your brain regulates how much emotional intensity you can process. There are protective mechanisms that suppress or soften access until you have enough safety, enough resources, enough support to revisit and reframe it. So when something comes up again, it's not failure, it's readiness. And this is a distinction that most people don't make. They go into self-judgment. Why am I here again? What is wrong with me? Why am I still stuck in this? Maybe it's not meant to be. And then we go out into the spiritual bypassing, which I have a really low tolerance for, because I don't believe there's anything that you can't have. I don't believe there's anything that if you feel it's calling you, it's already meant for you. That's an energetic match. There's something inside of you that says, I know this is where I'm meant to be. So I don't believe in any of the bypassing of maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe it's a sign. Because if it feels bad, it's not the right sign. It's not the right interpretation. Your body will tell you. So when you know it's for you, and then you start telling yourself reasons why you can't have it, that's not going to feel good, right? It's readiness. It's layers. So doing the work one time doesn't mean it's complete. It means you've worked with the layer that was available then. So we've got to get comfortable with this concept that we're never done. We always evolve. And as we evolve and up-level our lives, more things come in that we want, but also more challenges come in to work through so that we are steady and solid, holding more. Life is meant to be experienced, but we were never meant to be afraid of every change along the path. That was not part of the plan. That's conditioning, and our nervous system has been very well conditioned. Because if all the layers were integrated, how you know you're not done? If all the layers were integrated, you'd have what you want. You'd already be living it. And it's not that you're not living it because you're doing something wrong or something's wrong with you. It's not that. So instead of asking, why am I still here? Why am I still stuck in this space? Why is the money not just rolling in? What is happening? Is my messaging not clear? Are people not hearing me? Why is my health still the same way? Is my body just revolting against me? I'm feeling betrayed. Why am I not so confident where I'm landing those new clients? I've built everything. I'm passionate about it. Why am I terrified to go out and speak on social media about what I do that is so uniquely different than everybody else? These are the questions you're asking yourself, and I've moved through all of those. We shift into, this is the next layer for you. This is the next layer you are ready to move through. It's why it feels so frustrating. This is the next level of you becoming available to yourself. So instead of asking, why am I still here again? We shift into, this is the next layer. This is the next level of me becoming available to myself. And I want to share something with you because this isn't theoretical for me right now. This week inside my client work, this past week, today is Saturday, this past week, just wow. I have had some of the most intense and profound conversations. Women processing rage, anger, deep shame, kinds of emotions that most of us were never taught how to hold. And what's been so powerful is watching what happens the moment they begin to see their pattern. Not just feel it, but actually see it. They start connecting the dots between what's been triggered in their life right now and the original programming that created it. Because I'll always find it with you. I'll poke around, I'll ask you questions, I'll blueprint it. That is what I do. That's my magic. And we find it. We find those origin points so that we understand why your nervous system is interpreting the situations today the way that it is. That's the way that I've developed it. When we're not just talking about your reactions or what other people are doing, we back away. It's always about you and your relationship to you. So we start to map it out. We're identifying the exact moment your nervous system learned that this is what I need to do to stay safe. And when that connection clicks, everything changes. Because now it's not random. It's not overwhelming. It's not what's wrong with me. It becomes clear. It becomes structured. It becomes something we can actually work with, because we don't get anywhere saying, if so-and-so would just behave differently, my life would be great. That's not how it works. And from there, we can go deeper. We move into regression work. We go back to origin points. And I'll tell you, this week, so many times, clients are regressed back to things they don't even remember. That's the whole point. That kind of change you're looking for doesn't come at the conscious level, because the conscious mind does not have access to the information. The subconscious mind is the record keeper. It stores every memory you've ever created, and it files it in its own logical system. It groups them together in ways that you will access depending on where you are in your life and what you're up-leveling to. It will take you back to the next layer that needs to be reframed. It is brilliant. It is extraordinary. And it is where change occurs. So you can't get there from all the talking inside your head. The breakthroughs that have come from this, the recognition that when I am out of alignment because I'm over here grappling with this circumstance and my point of attraction now changes and everything I want begins to wobble. When we start to see the deal we're making for that, the price, the bargain, we start to put it down and we start to change. And we start to prioritize that time that we have between now and that end point. And everything takes on a different meaning. Everything begins to change. And your nervous system will reorganize around that clarity, around that truth, around that conviction. That is life-changing. That is game-changing. Because when a woman sees her own pattern clearly, she stops fighting herself. And she starts partnering with her subconscious mind, partnering with herself, lining up. And then the subconscious mind is the mechanism that draws in all the people, places, and things that match that point of that field, that point of attraction, your energy field. And this is exactly why I created the Creation Field. This is the next group event that I'm doing, and it's launching in a few weeks, May 16th, a couple of weeks. Because what I've just described to you, those breakthroughs, that clarity, that ability to connect the dots, that's the work. And most women never get to experience it in a structured, supported way. This isn't about more information. This is about transformation through experience. So inside this space, I'm going to take you through those exact processes where you begin to see your own subconscious blueprint, where you start recognizing this reaction, this fear, this shutdown. It isn't random. It's patterned. It's intelligent. It's protective. And once you see it, we don't stay there. We move into it. We go back to where it began. We work with your subconscious directly, and we reframe it at the root. This is the difference. You're not just becoming aware, right? You're actually changing the way your system responds in real time. This is not just conversational. This is experiential. So you don't just learn something. You feel it. You process it. You integrate it. And that's why it's life-changing. Because when your subconscious changes, your identity changes. And when your identity changes, your life has no choice but to follow in the most extraordinary ways. That has been my experience over and over and over again. So we stop being afraid of the challenges. We know that we will have whatever we need to move through it. And life then, freedom, autonomy, choices, power, resources, become the life that you want. That's what you really are after, whether it's the launching of the business or the healing of the body, or it's all about stopping being stuck where you are right now. That's the end. That's the dream. But the work is, how do I stop doing what I'm doing over and over and over again? You've got to understand what your nervous system is trying to do for you. Wisdom for your conscious mind, that's what you start to receive. So you understand what's happening. You understand your own patterns. And then deep subconscious work. So your system will actually change. But in this, I'm going to teach you how you actually get in and do that. And then notice when you're kicking yourself out over and over again, and get back in to your own field of creation. And then when you're kicking yourself back out over and over again, this is unique. This combination creates change that isn't temporary. I'm going to have you experience it, feel it. We're going to do the work. You're going to be in and out of this space so that you understand why you keep circling the same thing, that you actually break through it this time. And this creates pervasive, lasting change. You become the woman who feels safe being seen, safe showing up and doing lives, safe holding more, safe in her power, safe in her expansion, her expression. And from there, life cannot possibly be anything other than a different response. If it's all an energy game, then as you change your energy alignment and your identity, what you bring into your field is going to match that over and over and over again. This is what alignment is. This is why when I say in private one-to-one sessions, you manage you. That's what I'm here for. I help you manage you so that you understand your patterns. You understand where they came from. You understand your unique blueprint. You understand the triggers and what they mean. And as you can hold them differently, you manage your own alignment. And with that, when you're rock solid, everything you're bringing in continues to match it. And you no longer waste any time second guessing things, putting it on other people, getting caught up in the dramas of the world. We don't have time for that. We're too busy for that. We're too focused for that. There is so much out there for you to experience and have, and your soul knows it. Your body knows it. Your subconscious knows it. But between where you are now and where you want to be, there is a bridge to walk. Those two lines are not intersecting, and we need to make them intersect. And that is what the work is. So this is not for everyone. right? This is not for you if you need me to validate you. This is not for you if you're waiting to feel ready, if you're unsure, if you're, I can't move, I don't want to move, I don't want to change, I don't want to take responsibility for myself. This is not for you if that's the case. This is for you if you already know. If when I'm speaking, something inside of you is just saying, yes, 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 and you're ready to become the woman who can hold what she wants. Your nervous system feels safe in your expansion. So if this resonates, if you feel that pull, then it's time. And it's time for you to trust that. So registration is open. I have early discount pricing right now, but it is expiring very soon. And that's not meant to be a hurry up and buy me message. That's not an urgency message. That's a clarity message. So if you're meant to be inside of it, you'll feel it. And if you do, I can't wait to meet you there. We get started in just a couple weeks. Have a beautiful weekend. See you soon.